a lot of no's that I get, when talking to investors or potential partners, stem from that. It's just a lack of understanding from the other person, a lack of knowledge. So you can't always take that as a no, as you're not doing a good job, or maybe you're barking up the wrong tree. It could just be that their experience doesn't lend them to see the world the way you do. When I get a big no, I definitely get bummed out, and it affects me. It kind of zaps my energy, and it just kind of puts me in a bad spot. But then after I don't know, sometimes it's a couple hours, sometimes it's a couple minutes, sometimes it's a couple days. It depends on how important that no is. I pop back into my confident self, believing that this was going to be something, and getting passionate, fired up, and getting back to work. The no's only set me back for a little while. They're like a little punch in the stomach. You lose your breath for a second. You got composure, and then get back at it. But I don't think anybody could tell me no in a sense that it would stop me from doing what I believe in and what I'm passionate about, what I think could be really big. With taking those punches, the thing that gets you to stand back up is that vision you have for what you want the future to look like. And the more you believe in that vision, the more it fuels you. So you've got to really believe that you're doing the right thing to get to where you want to go. It doesn't matter what the idea is. Just jumping in and getting started in business, you might screw up that first business, but you will learn so much in the process. It's almost better to have a couple screw ups in the early days because you learn some really valuable lessons. People that their first company has just this virality to it and it just grows really quick, or they just happen to nail the product market fit and launch with a really great product, I think they miss out on some of the fundamental lessons that you need to learn as an entrepreneur. So when their company gets big, even though it looks big, it looks successful, there's usually a massive amount of turmoil going on inside because they just don't know some of the fundamentals about running a business. It's their first business they've ever run, and it's become successful, but it could be 5 or 10 times the size had they paid their dues as an entrepreneur first before they landed on a really good business model. Consistently, time and time again, I'll have somebody turn down an investment in the company, and immediately following the very next meeting is somebody that says yes and is incredibly excited about the company. So a lot of times a no is followed by a yes, as long as you bring that same kind of enthusiasm to the very next meeting. Because again, I think it comes down to the people you're talking about. Everybody has different backgrounds, different experiences. So you never know which person is going to get what you're selling and which people are not going to get it. And you just have to find that right match. I do a lot of reference checks if it's a big investor. And what I do when I'm looking for reference checks is I look at the companies that failed and I talk to those companies. What happens when things went horribly wrong? How did that investor behave? Did he stick by you and try to support you and try to help you? Or did he turn, nasty? That's a really, really important one for me and has been quite eye-opening. Almost every company, and I would probably almost argue that every company, has downturns and faces rough times, and a huge percentage fail. Investors just have to be used to that. Professional investors are absolutely used to that. And they stick by the entrepreneurs during those tough times. They try to help them out. They try to get them to a better spot. If things do fail, they don't rub it in the entrepreneur's face. They usually try to keep that relationship intact. So if the entrepreneur starts another business that has potentially more promise, they might invest in them again. A lot of times it's not necessarily the execution that causes a company to fail. A lot of times it's the product market fit. And everybody might have thought that this was a really good idea that was going to be really big at the beginning, but once you really got into it and you started, executing to that model, you realized something was broken, and as much as you try to fix it, it's just never going to be a good business. The pros know that they've got to take care of the team. An inexperienced investor may be looking out for themselves and trying to get as much equity as they can. The professional investor is saying, okay, is the team properly compensated? Does the CEO have enough equity? Does his executive team have enough equity? Does the entire company have enough equity that they're motivated to get the best possible outcome, and they're not going to get stolen away by competing offers? So I find professionals are trying to give equity to key team members, while inexperienced investors are trying to grab as much as they can. Enjoy the ride, because there's going to be times where things are going to go, like basically nothing is going to go the way you thought it would go or hoped it would go. But it's all going to kind of work out in the end. And those times that really suck, the dark times, the hard times, you're going to learn incredibly valuable lessons that are just going to make you stronger and stronger and a better entrepreneur. And you'll be able to track down and solve bigger problems and bigger challenges because of those rough times. And you're going to have some really good times too, which are going to be incredible. But even after you sell a company and get all that money you'd always dreamed of, you'll realize that, life really is, about that journey. You're going to jump right back into it and put yourself, into some more dark times, even though you don't have to, because, as humans, I think that's the key. We love to learn and grow and challenge ourselves. So there is no end game here as an entrepreneur. It's not about just making money and quitting. It's really just about working on projects you're incredibly passionate about and learning and growing and becoming the best entrepreneur you can be. You're going to become incredibly fulfilled from that mission alone, no matter how big your bank account is at the end of it all.